Does your D major chord sound like this? Or does it sound a little bit more like this? Or like this? Now let's find out why your D chord is sounding dull, muffled, and quite frankly, rubbish. Can I say that? Yeah. This isn't just a how to play a D major chord on guitar tutorial for beginners. Now I'm assuming that you already know the shape, and it looks like this. You can see the diagram on the screen and you can see where your fingers go. But it's not just where you put your fingers on the fretboard now, is it? It's also how you put them on the guitar fretboard. One of the secrets to a clean sound is often about where your finger lands on the guitar fretboard. Now it's not in the middle or it's not on the fret wire. It's just behind the metal bar. That's our frets there. It's just behind. This is what we talk about, the sweet spot. And when we talk about just behind, let me give you a little more insight based on my own fingers here for this D major chord. So the closest finger to the fret is my second one, then my first one, and then my third finger. See, between the second finger and the fret, there's hardly any daylight. But between the first finger and the fret, there is a little bit there. I think this, I don't know how it is for other guitar players, but this is pretty much where I have my fingers when I play this D major chord. Now, if you have bigger fingers, this is doubly important. What you want to do is you really want to aim for the tip of your fingers, almost where the nail meets the skin. You really want to get that part of the finger, and you want it as vertical as possible, you know, helping you to avoid accidentally touching and muting those neighboring strings. Now, for keeping those other strings ringing, we need to get those fingers, you know, nicely arched like this. You know, think of your fingers as a little bridge over the strings below. And I think this is especially important for the third finger here, because this finger often, you know, it gets a bit lazy at times, and sometimes you might find yourself kind of bending it over like that, so that, you know, you get this sort of thing here, because it often leans back and it will mute this first string, this high E string, this thinnest string. Now, if your fingers feel a bit stiff, you might find this arching a little tricky at first. So whatever you do, don't force it. Just focus on gentle arching. And remember, consistency and practice will gradually help. Now, also, gentle warm-ups before you start playing can make a big difference. And if you want some help with that, check this video here, and this will give you a little tutorial and some little warm-ups for your fingers before you start playing. Now, how hard do you need to press? So not too light, where you'll get this and some buzzing, but then not too hard, because if you press too hard, eventually your fingers are going to start aching. You might get the chord sounding, but you'll have a lot of ache. And it's about finding just the right amount of pressure. And this also ties back to good finger placement too. So the closer you are to the fret, the less pressure you need. Now, if your fingers are back here, you'll find yourself having to press a little harder. And if you have slightly arthritic hands, fingers, or indeed tender fingertips, this is where the choice of string also becomes important. Lighter gauge strings will require less pressure, and it'll be easier for you to get a cleaner sound on your guitar. And you'll often find them labeled as extra light or custom light, and these are different common types of lighter strings. I'll put a link down below in the description for a few options. So be careful. Remember, try and get your finger positions here, not pressing down too hard and not pressing down too lightly. Now let's talk about thumb or the thumb, there are two main ways that people hold it. And for the D chord, one might just be maybe your new best friend. Now there is the kind of the classical way. That's when you have the thumb behind the neck. So somewhere like this, all right, like that. And it's not my favorite way for this chord. In fact, in general, it's not my favorite way because you have to have more control over your strumming hand to stop you playing the E string. But it is good for your reach and being able to arch your fingers. So that's a really good thing that I do think is good. Now the way I do it is I generally have my thumb like this here, kind of wrapping around. And for me it was a bit of a game changer because it meant that I could dampen this E string because we don't really want to hear it. And I could focus more on getting the chord right and not worry about what this hand, my strumming hand, is doing. So, you know, it's really a good idea. It does help you focus more on the fretting and less of the strumming hand. Now, it's not just your fingers. Your whole body plays a bit of a part. Now, look at your hand here, your wrist, and even your elbow. Now, a cramped wrist, something like this, or an elbow glued to your side, can make it almost impossible to get a clean sound. And so you really do need to stay relaxed. So be careful with the position of your hand. You kind of want it to be a little bit like this here. You don't want like that, and you definitely don't want anything like this. So try and stay relaxed. And if you have a touch of arthritis, really try and do your best to keep your wrist and your arm relaxed, because any tension here is obviously going to make it much harder and potentially more painful. So listen to your body. If something hurts, stop, take a break. There's no need for this. All right, so take it as easy as you can. So as I said, you don't want stuff like this, and you don't want to be like that, because it makes it a bit more difficult and you'll have a lot of pain here. Now, something that you should do once you've got your fingers in place, don't just immediately go for a strum. You know, pluck each string individually. This is like your personal D chord detective work. Because if you hear something maybe like this, like that, then you want to check what's going on with your fingers. If you hear something like this, right, that's probably because your fingers are too far back, so you want to mush it up a little bit. As I said, close to the fret as you can, giving a nice sound. We don't want this. That's pretty horrible, right? So always, you know, when you're learning new chords, take your time for a second, place the chord, fret the chord, and then just check that all your strings are ringing out nice and cleanly, and get that beautiful D major sound. Now remember, there is this thing about the greater the difficulty, or let me say that again, the greater the difficulty, the more glory in surmounting it. And I heard that was a phrase from some chap called Molière. So don't rush. Slow, deliberate practice is a lot better than fast, messy practice. And if it's not sounding perfect yet, that's completely normal. This is tricky at first, but you will get it. And if your fingers feel clumsy, you know, it's a good sign. You know, you're getting there. You're learning the steps to have a nice, clean D major chord. And if you got this one chord a little cleaner today, then that's real progress. Keep going. You're doing better than you think. Now, if this video helped you, please give it a like. It truly helps the channel, spreads the word to other beginner or total beginners, people who are learning from scratch just like yourself. So leave me a comment down below and let me know how your D chord is coming along, or if indeed you have any questions. And don't forget to subscribe as well. Now, if you want more personalized lessons, you can find me on a great guitar learning platform called Till. There are links down below in the description. Check out these videos here to keep your practice going. Thank you so much for joining me today. Happy strumming.